Everyone, welcome to the video. I'm Alex and I run an agency called Darlington. I help a lot of clients and I also do some coaching on the side, but mostly I'm always just trying to get better and faster at Google Ads. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're trying to do the same thing. So if you've already learned and kind of mastered, maybe not even mastered, but you've used the Google Ads browser in Chrome or another browser and you're just making edits on the front end and you think, man, this could be so much faster. I hate the errors that I run into. I hate it when my internet cuts out and I lose hours of progress or Google has an issue. Well, Google Ads Editor is for you. This is a program that was released by Google. It's been out for a very long time. It gets updated all the time. It's not a perfect program by any means, but this is how I save 90 to 99% of my time on tasks that would normally take hours. I use Google Ads Editor to speed them up by that much. And when you're doing things for many clients and they need a lot of extremely large and complicated bulk changes, or you're just making changes for your own business, you need to be able to do that quickly, or you're going to be stuck in ads all day long. And at the end of the day, there's just a much better way once you have kind of learned how to run your campaigns in the actual browser to then actually continue to do the work that's required to create new campaigns, to update current campaigns that are evergreen, and just do all the different types of optimization that goes into running just really good Google Ads. I want to have this video be around an hour, and I'm going to just try and cover as many basic, intermediate, and advanced skills that I feel like are the most important for people to learn, whether they are managing one account or whether they're managing multiple accounts. Okay, let's talk about the UI. I'm recording this in the future because I realized you guys couldn't see dropdown. So let's start with the top level nav dropdowns. So account, edit, tool, data, and help. For the account dropdown, you'll see that you can open up the accounts manager. You can post changes to your account. You can check for unposted changes for your account. And you can also get recent changes. So for example, if you've done edits in the front end browser, you can get those changes. But also if you're working with other people on the same account, so for example, if you're working with a client and they have an internal team, or you're working as part of an agency and there's multiple people on your team that are working on the same account, this is a great way to get the recent changes that have been posted since you were last in Google Ads Editor to make sure that you're working from the same point of reference that everybody else is that may be using the browser version. You can also get a full account download, which will include all of the accounts related to your. You can also import, this is where you can also import campaigns, ad groups, ads, keywords, a whole host of things from a file. This will be something that we'll cover later in the video when we're talking about uploading campaigns and doing bulk changes. You can also import from Google Drive. I don't do anything with this, but certainly everyone has their own workflows. If this is something that would be interesting to you, if maybe you're working as part of a team that uses Google Drive, I would recommend taking a look at this. And then you can also export your campaigns, your account, views, rules, etc., almost anything from the export tab. I will say that I don't use too many of these top nav dropdowns, and the reason for that is I'm using the settings, but I'm using the hotkeys. So you'll see almost all of these have their own hotkeys, and I just memorize those, and I do that because it's a lot faster. Hotkeys to navigate the account and make certain actions. If you are a frequent Excel user, you'll understand this. It's very much like Excel in that you need to navigate up and down and from side to side within the Ads Editor software to be able to get work done faster. If you're new to Ads Editor, I don't recommend jumping out right out the gate with hotkeys unless you're very comfortable with software. We have our campaign tree here. And speaking of hotkeys, you can navigate through the campaign tree, of course, with your mouse by double clicking to open and close different views. You can also go up and down with your arrow keys to navigate from campaign to campaign or entity to entity. But you can also navigate with the right and left arrow keys. So as you see, I went to the ad group level and then I went up to the campaign level. Very simple. And then as we move our focus down to the bottom left corner of the screen, you'll see that for a given campaign, all of the information will then be filtered down to the campaign, ad group, and keyword levels. So for the summer sale campaign, we've got all of the summer sale ad groups and keywords. Another thing to note is that you can select multiple campaigns up in the campaign tree, or you could select multiple ad groups within the ad group. So if I select these 3 ad groups from the summer sale campaign, I can then look at all of the filtered data from those ad groups. So the keywords, the negative keyword lists that are used, and the ads that are matched against those ad groups. You can also select multiple, for just sake of argument. You could select multiple ad groups from a given couple of campaigns, or you could select everything related to the account, which would include. Okay, so next up we have the, I would say, meat and potatoes of the UI, which is in the middle of the screen. So we have all of our ad groups related to a campaign here, and we can go down to any sort of entity level. So when I say entity level, I mean ad groups, keywords, negative keywords. So if we look at the ad group level, we have one ad group called sale items selected here. And you'll see that the way that this is formatted is you have a specific entity. So like sale items, cheap sunglasses is going to be displayed as a row, a highlighted row. And then you'll see that all of the columns related to that entity will be displayed. So whether the ad group is eligible or not, whether it has any ad group or labels, whether set a max CPC bid on it or any sort of other adjustment, as well as if there's any sort of rotation or anything like that. And then in addition, you can see that you can actually set the settings for a specific highlighted ad group. And if you want to look at multiple different ad groups at the same time, you can look here. And this is going to be the case for any entity level. So if we double click the ad group and we go down to the keywords related to that ad group, multiple like this ad group, we'll see that we can select multiple keywords, and the keyword text is of course going to vary because there's multiple different keywords under here that have different text associated with them. But you can ultimately edit multiple entities at the same time, but just keep in mind that it's very easy to make a mistake here and say, for example, we change all of our keywords to, Gucci sunglasses, right? And it's going to change all of those. And maybe we had just meant to change one, but we had forgotten that we had highlighted multiple. Those types of mistakes are very easy to make, but fortunately, you can just go and undo. You can also, if you're not comfortable with using Control-Z, you can just go up here to the edit and undo. You can also use forward and backwards arrow to undo it. So if you do make a mistake, don't worry. Almost everything is undoable within Google Ads Editor. In fact, I haven't found anything that I haven't been able to undo. And you can also, bail on your changes and not post them to your account if you feel like you really. And that's the beauty of using, essentially what this is integrated development for advertising. So you can make a bunch of changes, see how it would look, and then you have the option to push it to live or you don't push it to live. So that's pretty much the entire UI. Let me know if you have any questions, but otherwise we're going to move to campaign creation, and then after that, how to do bulk edit. All right, campaign creation. Let's talk about it. So there's a few ways to do it. One way you can do it is add a new campaign, and then you have to set the budget. You have to set a bunch of stuff like search partners, display network, etc. Watch my video on how to do Google Ads start to finish, step by step on my channel. It's like 90 minutes. I'm not going to detail this information right here, but you can set all of your standard campaign settings as you would expect, and you can do any type of campaign from here. So whether you're a hotel person or a shopping person or a smart shopping person, or you want to do PMax, you can do it all from this dropdown. The second way to do it is to import it from a file. So this is an option I have. So I will often do this if I want to do a lot of bulk work already from ChatGPT or another AI tool to just speed up the work of creating campaigns, ad groups, ads in bulk that I will then edit and templatize, different types of things. So uploading that gave me this brand spanking new campaign that has 5 ad groups. It's got some keyword targeting based on those ad groups. And this will be linked in the resources section below to just give you kind of a starting point or test around if you want to get a sense of this. And this is non-exhaustive. There's more settings that can be added to that campaign file that's going to be linked in the resources section. But this is just to give you a sense of what you can do by uploading files to speed up the work that you're doing. Again, we'd still have to do search partners, display network, so on and so forth. And I think the ad groups actually need some bids, but we can just, as they say, we'll include the required minimum bids after the ad group's uploaded. So in short, this isn't a red stop sign. We can still move forward even with these issues. Okay, so that's how you create campaigns. Let's talk about the next thing, which is bulk editing. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this campaign to the account here, post, and you'll see that we've created one campaign. I'm going to delete this other guy because it's got nothing going on. And we're going to post one campaign, 5 ad groups, 6 keywords, and some basic location targeting. Okay, now the campaign has been posted, and you'll notice that was so much faster than if we were going to do that in the Google Ads front end. So at the end of the day, even when you're making basic changes, if you know what you're doing and you know how to do it in Google Ads Editor, the network lag and like all the different things that go into making changes within the browser is so much faster when you're doing it within the software tool on your desktop on a fast computer. Well, let's talk about bulk editing though, because this is something that is going to save you thousands of hours if you can improve it.
Media buying on Google might seem simple, but we all know it's not. I have created a custom coaching program tailored to every student where I personally break down everything that you could need to know about the complex facets of Google advertising. During coaching, I'll walk you through how to master every concept that you need to know to get on top for your business. Over 100 people have already signed up for coaching just from this small channel and are already earning the rewards of knowing how to media buy properly. However, if coaching isn't for you, or you just don't have the time because you're busy running a big business, I also offer a fully 360-degree done-for-you media buying service for businesses spending over $10K a month. I have a background in profitable hypergrowth, and I work with a small selection of clients every quarter. If either of these are something that you're interested in, check them out in the description below or give me an email at alex@darlingtongrowth.com. Thanks so much. Let's get back to the video.
Okay, let's talk about making some bulk changes. And I would say bulk changes are the majority of what really good Google Ads buyers do to save a massive amount of time and get a really exceptional return on effort. So when I learned how to do bulk changes, I would say it saved me 90, I don't think this is an exaggeration to say it saved between 90 and 99% of the time I spent on a given task. So to give an example of this, if I was to do bulk keyword research and I discovered maybe about 500 to 1,000 keywords that I thought were really effective to go into market for a client, and then I was to break those out into SCAGs or SIAGs, that process would take me anywhere from 5 to 10 hours or maybe more, depending on the complexity of the ad groups and the complexity of the keywording. And that's without even me doing things like adding separate final URLs and fully customizing the copy. And I mean, there's just a lot that goes into it. And the big time sink that goes into making a lot of changes on the Google Ads side is actually waiting for the Google Ads browser to update your changes. So it gets stuck, making a campaign change, and then it gives you back an error. And because of that, you've spent 15 minutes waiting and then trying to fix the error. You're looking up issues, right, on how to fix those. And the long story short of it is an hour quickly passes and you've maybe done a tenth of the work. Well, let me introduce you to making some, this is a very simple example of how you can make bulk changes through Google Ads Editor. So in this case, I have an existing set of keywords. There's 5 keywords, and each of those keywords are within a different ad group, all within the same campaign. Now, this could all be different, right? These could be different campaigns. These could be different ad groups. These could be different keywords. But this basic syntax where I've got headings right here in bold, and then under them I have organized data. This is going to be exactly how you do bulk changes. So every single type of bulk changes has their own type of syntax. So that's going to be where there's going to be a lot of learning that you're going to need to do, is what exact syntax you need for the type of bulk change that you're trying to make. But the good part about that is once you learn it, that's a standard operating procedure that you can put in place where you know exactly what to do, or you can make it very clear for what a teammate needs to do if they're making changes in the account directly as well. So let's look at what this process is. So I've got this data and now I've copy and pasted it, and I'm going to go into Google Ads Editor. And I've already done this change a couple times just to verify that it's working fully correctly for this video. But I've filtered the view to just the proposed changes. Anyway, let's go, and I'm going to select make multiple changes. And I'm going to say the destination is that my data includes columns for campaigns and ad groups. That's where I put my bolded headers in the Excel document. Grab that data again. Didn't want to grab. There we go. And you'll see that it actually automatically detected that each of these were entities already in my account. And we're going to keep this as add or update. You'll see that the campaign is correct, the ad group is correct, the keywords are correct, and those final URLs that I set based on those keywords are correct. So just to clarify, it's going to set this final URL and it's going to tie it to this keyword, and specifically this keyword instance that's within this ad group. So if I also had discount sunglasses in the sunglasses sale ad group, which would be completely reasonable for me to do because you can't compete against yourself. Only one ad will show from one ad group, from one campaign, from one account on one SERP at the same time. And it's fine to have the same keyword in multiple ad groups. I don't subscribe to the idea that you should have distinct keywords in your account, across the board. Essentially, this is completely fine, but the thing to note is that this will only tie the final URL to this specific keyword. If there's another discount sunglasses somewhere else in the account, it's not going to tie the final URL to that keyword. So that's very important to note because, if you were told by your boss or your client or by yourself that you needed to make sure that all of the instances of discount sunglasses had that URL of discount sunglasses, or whatever the final URL that you want for that search term and that search keyword to be, you need to make sure that that is covered by the bulk change that you're making. So in my case, I'm only doing it for the instance of the ad group of sale items that includes the keyword discount sunglasses. I'm not doing it for all the instances of discount sunglasses. Might seem like I'm harping on this, but this is a very easy way to end up with a gap in your account if you don't know what you're doing. And the way that you know what you're doing is mostly by checking your work and then thinking about, okay, what are the different factors in play that I want to make sure are functional? Like, what did I go to what was I trying to achieve with this bulk update? And then did I actually achieve it after I made the update? And the nice part is after we process this data, it will tell us the entities that were changed and how many of them were updated, added, or skipped. In this case, I did end up actually changing the keywords. So if you had the existing keywords in your account, they would say updated. If you don't have them in your account, they will say added. And now something that can change that can be an issue when you are doing this is it will say added additional ad group, for example. And if you know that in your Excel file, if you didn't add any net new ad groups, but say, for example, let's just do this for the sake of example, you misspelled aviator, which is it's like human error, right? Let's just do that. And we're going to revert and cancel this data. I'm going to do make multiple changes again. And we have the misspelled aviator sunglasses, and I'm going to process it. It's now going to say added ad group, right? Which is incorrect. We did not intend to add an additional ad group, but this shows the power of and also the potential pitfalls of Google Ads Editor, in that we've added a completely new ad group that we didn't intend to add. And if you're not careful, you will do this and you will make mistakes and you'll get very confused. So let's revert. Let's do this the correct way. We're going to change this guy back to Aviator. Destination. Process. There you go. So it's very easy to make mistakes, but if you know what buttons to press, you're not going to make mistakes. And then I'm reviewing my proposed changes. I'm going to keep those changes because these all look correct. We've got the right keywords changed for the right ad groups. And there we have our final URLs. So while that was a long process of me explaining it, ultimately this change was about 30 seconds max. It's about 5 to 10 seconds copying it and putting it into the make multiple changes. You just say that your data includes the columns for the right campaigns under ad groups. You make sure that you have selected the right entities within your actual cells that you're denoting. And then you process the changes and you check your work. And that's how you do bulk changes in Google Ads Editor. Let me know if you have any questions on this, or if there's any types of bulk changes that you are trying to make, but you're not really sure how you can do. Okay, so I just recorded this section, but it didn't work for a few reasons. One is you guys just couldn't see the pop-ups that come out of Google Ads Editor. So essentially, there's two pieces to cover from the shared library perspective, and they're all about negative keywording. So I have this negative keyword list that I created within the browser side. You actually can't create negative keyword lists within Google Ads Editor at the time of making this video. So sorry. But the simplest thing that you'll do from a shared library perspective is, say you have this negative keyword list of all these different things, like you don't want free to show up, you don't want download to show up, review, etc. to show up to trigger your ads when someone searches those terms. You'll just go and say add campaign associations after highlighting your negative keyword list. And then you will select the different campaigns that you want this to be applied for. And then you can just go and post. And that's about the size of it. Now, the second thing that I wanted to cover in regards to negative keywording was that if you want to actually go and, this was the example, add negative keywords to your campaigns in bulk, I recommend doing it from a file perspective, but you would do that the exact same way. So I'll just type it out, but you would ideally have an Excel file with hundreds or thousands of negative keywords that you wanted to add as phrase or exact match level negative keywords, which I'll get into negative keywording strategy in another video. If you want that, let me know. But let's just think about this logically. So we want to add this to our different ad groups. We can make this a campaign level negative keyword. So we can just say that we don't want to import that data. And then we'll say that the keyword is review or reviews. And then we'll make it a phrase match negative. And then maybe we also want to have the same, also within the same campaign, we want to say that the keyword is, download, right? Something generic that we just wouldn't want in any of the ad groups within that one campaign. And then this will add those negative keywords in. And again, if you had a file, right, of 100 or 1,000 different negative keywords, you could do that pretty easily. So just for instance, I'll just grab an irrelevant keyword list and I can show you how that would look. So add here, and we'll set these as campaign level negatives and just do summer sale 2024, criterion, phrase, keyword, criterion type, campaign, and then just say, for the sake of example, we want all these to be negative keywords because we don't want anyone looking for office shares. Not that that would happen to show up for our sunglasses campaign. And you'll see that we just added 2,000 negative keywords, and that we actually want to change to phrase match. And all of those are now in that campaign. So you can see that just for the sake of example. Now let's move on to our next step. Okay, what the heck is a custom rule? So I navigated here by going all the way down in the bottom left pane. And I went to advanced tools. I opened up the dropdown and we're at custom rules. So these are built into Google Ads Editor. such as if an ad group has no ads, it'll show that violation. Manual bidding, they don't like us using manual bidding. That's a whole nother thing. But it'll show the violations. You can double tap this and it will filter out those campaigns, those offending entities in your account, or whatever that custom rule is that is triggered. But what if you want to do something else? Like, what if you want to create your own custom rule, right? You can have two types, right? You can have the types that are notifications only, but you can also have a type that prevents you from making a change in the account if it fits that criteria. For example, if you were trying to launch a campaign that had a way too big of a budget, or some other sort of egregious thing that was like human error. So let's try and do that. And let's do one for quality score, because a lot of people watch my videos and seemingly I seem to be helpful along this area. And let's talk about quality score. So this is going to be for when quality score is at 3 or less than 3. So it's going to be a keyword quality score monitor that we're building. Let's just say the message is keyword quality score is low. Consider improving the ad or landing page. And then we're going to say this applies to the scope of specifically keywords. You have to be pretty specific with this. And then we're going to say the violation criteria, which is essentially, this is the criteria that needs to, it's basically, it's a flowchart. Like if this happens, then give the message. And then the applies to is like the group of entities within the account that it's relevant to. So that's real. I said a lot of jargon, but essentially to do this, it's not keywords, sorry, it's quality score. So for keywords, when keywords have a quality score of less than or equal to 3, it is going to send us a message that says keyword quality score is low. Consider improving the ad or landing page. Okay. And then that is going to run constantly for every single keyword that's in the account. So that's that on its own, right? There's a few things that does. One, that groups up and tracks all of the offending, low performing, potentially keywords that we need to be focused on more. That's a big piece as well, because that would normally be a human task, right? You would have to go look at all of your keywords, and then look at them by campaign, and then see which ones you want to focus on improving. I mean, people spend hours doing that, hours and hours and hours, like every single week. So it's a lot of time. I would know I've done it. I've done it manually in the browser, and so this can save a lot of time. The second piece it does is by having them all segmented, you can then do focused work on them. If they're all focused together, you can do focused work within Google Ads Editor. Okay, so then we could just do apply. So now we've got, look at this, 1,164 violations, right? So that's huge. I mean, this is just, this is a false positive or a false negative, I guess. Oh no, it would be a false positive because this is a testing environment account. This doesn't actually have any ad spend on it. So any of these violations are going to be false. So I guess I should add a rule here that is quality score is greater than 0. Yep. So there you go. So it's greater than 0, but it's less than or equal to 3, which means that there's 0 because there's no spend on this account. Let's find them back. Okay, keyword quality score. So we've just built this custom rule that triggers across our entire account when we have low performing keywords, and it lets us know. It's pretty insane. It'll save you so much time if you do this, and then you do focused work off of those low performing keywords. Some of the ideas, I mean, what can you do with this? Well, one thing you could do is you could create a campaign of low performing keywords and pull those out of your main campaign that's like the highest performing keywords, and then set a different bid strategy against that. What's another thing you could do? Well, you could just improve the ads that are based on those, especially if they're supposed to be really high performing keywords for your brand. Like they have a good cost per conversion, but they have a low quality score. Well, you can get a much better CPC and CPM if you improve your quality score. So that presents several opportunities that you can make without even changing the structure of your account. You could also split them into SIAGs or SCAGs and give them more attention so that you get a better click-through rate on the exact match type of those keywords. What else could you? Well, another thing you could do is you could look at certain really high volume keywords that you have a low quality score and say, would it make sense if I had another landing page? And then maybe you work with your developer, or maybe if you're doing all the work yourself, which if you are, I'm sorry, I've been there. You could change your landing page or make a new landing page, or include more keyword text in your landing page to get a better landing page experience score. Or you could, for those keywords, if you see that you have a low quality score due to poor ad relevance, again, you could segment it into their own ad groups and then improve the ad relevance for that, which, you'll probably also improve your expected click-through rate, also known as your competitive click-through rate. So this is like a very advanced thing, right? I would say 1% or less of Google Ads media buyers are using this sort of thing. But if you could do that and you do a lot of other things right, you also can be in the top 1% of media buyers. So it's all about learning a bunch of these types of skills. So let's see if we can't teach you some more skills like that within Google Ads Editor before this video is over. We'll move on to the next section now. Okay, let's get a bit more advanced. Let's do a little bit of a case exercise. So you wake up in the morning, or maybe you get an email late at night, and your boss says, or maybe your client says, or maybe you say that you need to fix this really, really ugly, terrible ad group. And you need to do it in as little time as possible because you have a huge presentation tomorrow and this needs to be fixed, or there's a huge launch tomorrow. This needs to be fixed. These are not uncommon things to deal with, or maybe there's a big sale, right? And you need to fix this very fast. So there's a lot of things going wrong in this. Of course, we've got 2,500 keywords. They're all broad match. They've got no final URLs. We have very little performance data. The intent is all over the place. The theming is all over the place. And it's very unlikely that our single ad that may or may not even be in this are going to be able to satisfy all of this different querying. So let's first start off with some of the things that we know. So one thing that we know is that Ray-Ban has been performing really poorly for us. So we could pretty much immediately right off the bat go and we can delete these keywords that are related to Ray-Ban. That's removed about 250. And maybe you know that, maybe you also know that anything related to Ace and Tate is poor as well. So how do we actually filter that down? Well, we type in keyword under the filter, and then we say contains anything that includes Ace and Tate. But maybe we also know that there's some other ones, such as anything that includes Armani is performing really poorly because we don't actually sell Armani. Our keywords just happen to be including that. And so we need to get these out of the account as well. So we can either delete them or we can right click, delete. Either way that works. And then we get the list kind of down. And then actually we decide that, one thing that's really important from the data is that, as the media buyer, is that anything where the keyword doesn't include buy, purchase, sale, or online, right? People actually won't even buy them from the store. So this is how we do our inclusive, but how do we do our exclusive? So if it does not contain any of these, we don't actually want the keywords. So we're going to delete everything else, and then we're going to do equals. We're just going to remove that. Now we're down to 38 keywords. And still, these are pretty broad. And also, we kind of missed something when we were doing our filter earlier for Ray-Ban because we didn't consider that, one, people are going to misspell it, any word, and then they're also going to words as well. They did with Ray-Ban. So we'll delete that one. And then something that we also noticed was that we don't actually do prescriptions. So we could delete that as well. Anything that has prescription in it. And now that we've done that, we've gotten the list down pretty well, but we also know that given our industry, broad match type doesn't actually work very well for us. We have a pretty small budget. So what we'll need to do as well is highlight all of these and change them to exact match. But we know that the exact match terms can be kind of difficult when it's high intent, sale, purchase, etc. terms. So we're going to take all these and we're going to duplicate them as well. We're going to turn them into phrase. And so, essentially in, I don't know how long this has been recording, looks like 4 minutes. we've taken this from a list of 2,500 completely ridiculous random intent keywords to still pretty much all over the place, but a lot more specific. And then, I think one thing that I would probably do if I had enough time is I would bifurcate all of these into different brand focused ad groups. Or I would take like the big themes, like maybe you take the different brands, you break those into an ad group. You focus on like the broad intent, like sunglasses online, sunglasses sale, buy sunglasses, right? If there's brick and mortar locations, maybe you can break out some near me into its own campaign with location targeting. There's a whole host of things that you can do, but you've gotten it to a very reasonable 68 keywords, really 34 keywords over 2 match types in very little time at all. So I don't think I need to say that if you were to do this in the Google Ads browser, I know I've said it many times in this video, it would take you hours to do the amount of work that I just did in 4.5 minutes. And that's with me explaining it. This would really take me probably like 3 or 4 minutes max if I was actually looking at something along these lines and I had all the right information of someone that should have that information if they're working in this account daily, weekly, monthly. So that is, my friends, how you do some very rapid fire keyword pruning and keyword editing based on having a pre-existing data, i.e. you know what you're trying to serve and you know what you're not serving and you know how to filter it out. And the biggest skill that I showed here was, 1, you can move this data around just like it's an Excel file, but then 2, you can also filter it in very, very powerful ways. So you can also filter it based on any of these. So if it has a high quality score, say we had data for this, we wanted to move all of the certain quality score into its own ad group. We wanted to highlight the ones that have different ad relevance or they have poor landing page experience. We wanted to change the final URL, right? We could do something along the lines of quality or landing page experience is, let's see here, is not above average. So it's below or at average. And this is going to give us some anyway, because it's including is nothing. Say we want to change the final URL of all of these to be something different. That would be very easy to do with this filter as well. And then we wouldn't be changing anything that we wouldn't expect to want to change. So again, this is very advanced, right? In many cases, you're not going to end up in this situation, I hope, for you, where you have to do things very quickly and optimize something that's frankly quite terrible and that you hopefully won't have to deal with very frequently, and turn it into something, very clean and very beautiful very quick. Okay, now we're going to be talking about how to add bulk ads and what that looks like. Essentially, it's very easy. You have a Excel file where you have campaign, you have ad group, and then you have, what would that be? That would be all of your different headlines. So headlines 1 through 15, and then the positioning of those headlines, and your descriptions 1 through 4, and description 1 through 4 pinning. So if you don't want to do any pinning, just ignore all of that. But we're going to do and make multiple changes, and I'm going to copy and paste some data in here. I'm going to, as usual, say my data includes columns. We're very specific people. And as you can see, we have campaign, ad group, headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, headline 4, all the way down to 15. And then we've got our 4 descriptions, and we have our final URL. So again, this is how you do bulk data. So you build it in Excel, you upload it to Google Ads, and with any luck, you won't have to do much in the browser ever again until you are presenting data either to your or you're presenting it to your clients or otherwise. This is just, it's so much easier to do it like this. I can't imagine why you'd want to do it any other way. So we've built our ads, and so as you can see, we've got the sale items, right? It's talking about a sale right off the bat. Shop now and save, right? Cheap, right? It's affordable. You get great prices, right? Budget friendly, as opposed to sunglasses sale. It's a sale. There's a limited time offer, discounts, deals, right? Polarized. And of course, this is not my best copy that I've ever written in my life, right? I made it for this video, but you still got to put in some effort to customize. And you can always start with something generated from AI or ChatGPT and then edit it and customize it with your own writing, because ChatGPT will get you 80% of the way there, but everybody's using it to write ads. So you have to write your own ads that are distinguished from that. So as you can see, it's all customized, but there's probably some other improvements that we can make. Let's go and process this data. As you can see, it's added 5 responsive search ads. I'm going to keep those. And then we are going to look at any issues. And as you can see, we have an issue in one case where a headline is duplicated. And you'll see that you can't publish an ad that has duplicate headlines. So we're just going to pop that guy out here, and then we'll just replace this with top quality sunglasses. Go generic. And so we have no issues there. You'll see that none of the positioning has been determined, but we don't necessarily need that for this case. Now, what if we decide we get some data from one of our teammates, or we find out that our descriptions just aren't performing very well? So how do we actually do that? Do improvements to that when they're all different? Well, in some cases, descriptions should actually be the same across different ads, even if it's for different products, because there may be cases where you realize that a more standard messaging that's more brand level gives a higher click-through rate or a higher conversion rate. So again, it's based on data, or it's based on something that you watched from a YouTube video, maybe. So let's take a look at that and see what we can do to perhaps improve these descriptions. So I'm going to just slash out description 1 here. We're going to write our own out. So let's just say sold today, let's say 5-star average review, 24/7 customer support, free shipping. You change that, and as you can see, it is changed in all of our ads, just like that. So you can change advertising text and headline text or certain description text very, very quickly. And so maybe we want to change all of one of the headlines as well, or maybe we only want to change the headlines that are part of the cheap and sale to be more focused on, maybe we want to include our brand, even though it's on sale, like we want to get our brand in there. Who knows, right? You could have any varied amount of reasons for wanting to change headlines on specific ads from specific ad groups. So we'll just say it's the Sunglass Hut 50% off day, something like that. And then we want these to be in position 3 only. So we put those in position 3. We don't want them showing up anywhere else. We don't want anything else competing for this position 3 spot because we want our brand to go there. These are things that you can do very, very quickly. And so what'll end up happening is that you've now changed some descriptions, you've changed some headlines, and you can very visually see what has changed and what is not changed. And what I recommend is regularly going and looking at your campaigns and just staring at the different descriptions, staring at the different headlines. You make sure you're not doing what I find is one of the most common mistakes, especially for people who are doing a lot of volume and a lot of changes, is not having updated messaging. There will be people who, they've gotten to 100,000 customers and they haven't updated from the ads that say 10,000 customers, which is a huge difference, right? Someone would want to know that you've served 90,000 more people with your product or service. So those are some very basic things you can do to edit ads quickly. You can also, go through any one of these if you want to set paths. So let's say we're in what, the sunglasses sale. So sale items. So discount sunglasses. You're going to polarize. You're setting the path for polarized sunglasses. You're in. Let's just call this the summer sale, right? Aviator sunglasses. Again, you can just edit all of these things to very quickly set up all these changes, right? And that's how you do it. So that's how you set up your ads very quickly from a document. And again, I'll put that Excel document. That'll be, I believe it'll be number 7 on that resource sheet that I'll be including in the description section. And after this, we'll be wrapping up the video. All right, and that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed, the most helpful thing that you can do as a compliment to me is tell a friend who needs help with their advertising. I hope that you learned a lot about Google Ads Editor today and that you are going to save tons of time on your accounts or your clients' accounts in the future. If you have any recommendations for what I should make next, let me know. I'm going to be making a ton of content now that I'm doing this full time between the agency and the channel and all that stuff. So a lot more time to make videos, which I've been working hard to free up time in my schedule for this. So I really appreciate everybody's support. The channel has grown a ton this year, and I'm very excited to produce a lot more very technical, very accurate, very, no hiding anything sort of Google Ads content for you in the future. So if you enjoy what I'm putting out, please do subscribe and leave a thumbs up and a comment and everything. It really does help the algorithm. You guys know from all those channels that have this way more optimized than I do. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.